does the home have, the school, and even the leadership of the school? What effects does does it all have on student achievement? If we look at the key on the right, the one that is the bright blue, that one is going to be the one that has the most effect on student achievement, or the positive. And then obviously the one that, the red one at the bottom would have either the least effect or the negative effect on student achievement. So all of these are something that you can look at, and the ones that we want to look at are the ones in the bright blue or the royal blue. Okay, so that's something that you can use. So what I want to do is now I want to, as a team, I want us to kind of discuss our plan. We are working towards the English 1, and we're targeting our special ed students. And I've discussed the 3 interventions and 3 strategies. So as a team, can we decide on one of the strategies that we want to implement in the classroom? So I can give you some time.
The 3 were increasing formative assessment,
comprehensive interventions, and reciprocal teaching.
So out of those 3, which ones would be the most beneficial, or the one that we would want to implement in the class?
For our SPEDs, I would, my opinion would be formative assessment, because we have checkpoints and that can be more individualized, versus our reciprocal teaching, which I think would be a little bit more difficult if they haven't been used to taking on those roles.
I like it, but I think it would take a lot of training.
Yeah.
And to see
for this particular group.
And I feel like once they get to a place where they maybe have more confidence because of these 2, then that may be something we can implement later. But
or even the comprehensive interventions would be good too, because that one would actually we're intervening.
Yeah, we're actually demonstrating it for them with the
modeling.
Yes, it could be a lot of modeling.
Yeah.
I'd say 1 and 2, or a combination of 1 and 2, because with that feedback, that's when we can determine if they need the one-on-one, if they need tutoring.
Yeah.
Because the feedback will let us know for sure, right?
And we can incorporate the comprehensive into the formative assessments. So at one of the formative assessment checkpoints, it's like, okay, we haven't met this goal, let's move on to comprehensive interventions. Let's have tutoring.
So
officially formative assessment.
Yeah, I think so. I would agree with formative assessment.
You agree with the formative assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I think for the same reason, I was going to say it simply. I feel like for special ed students, you need a more adaptive plan, I guess. You need to be able to be more flexible.
Okay, so we're going to stick with the formative assessment. Okay, so then we're going to carry out our plan. So I'm going to have roles and responsibilities for you all. So I know, Ms. Salinas, you've been in education for quite some time, and based on your experience in the middle school, I would like for you to come up with some kind of strategies based on, that would include the formative assessment. I know that you taught middle school and you did a lot of, differentiating and, strategies that you used with the students, and we can kind of just come up with different strategies that the teachers can use in the classroom that would kind of embed, what kind of formative assessment throughout the lessons.
Okay. Do you have any problem for right now?
No, not right now. By the next time that we meet, we can discuss that. And then Mr. Stroop, I know you like working with teachers, and I know you like giving teachers a lot of, feedback. So what I would like for you to do is, I would like for you to go into the teachers' classrooms and kind of do informal walkthroughs, just to make sure that they're applying the strategies that Ms. Salinas will come up with, and make sure that they're, actually using them the correct way. I know that you would be very good at guiding them or coaching them to, use them the appropriate way and, use those strategies effectively in the classroom. Okay?
I don't trust your feedback.
Yeah. We don't trust your feedback.
Yeah, he's very approachable.
Okay, and then, thank you, Mrs. Shrew, for, making time to meet with me today. This meeting is basically more of a reflective, I know we met in the beginning of the year, we met as a group, and then we met, individually. So, this is basically, like I said, more reflective, how we grew as a team and how we grew individually. So, as far as getting prepared for this meeting, I did, give you some questions ahead of time, so that way you can kind of reflect on those. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with, from the beginning of the year to now, when our team met, or they have been meeting, what can you say about the team, or, you know, about each person individually? Do you think there was growth as a team and, you know, individually as well?
Oh yeah, for sure, definitely growth. But as a team, okay, so I think one of the things that helped the growth, I don't know if this kind of ends up answering some of your other questions too, but like, okay, so just to give you an example, some of our strong points for each of us. I mean, Miss Salinas, very tech savvy. And I guess as an example of that, like, not only does she know how to use a lot of the things that we kind of do as teachers, like Quizlet and Eduphoria and things like that, but she's also really good with things like ChatGPT. And I know there's a lot of like nervousness about the AI stuff, but it is a very strong tool, and she's actually pretty good at using that as well. So, like Miss Salinas is very, very tech savvy in that way, and I would say Ms. Tijerina, for example, like she is really thoughtful about a lot of things. She remembers dates, but not just in an organized way. She kind of connects that to kind of what the students need, not just on a deadline level, but kind of on an emotional level. And she is very thoughtful about the way she approaches students. She has a lot of students that are not necessarily special needs, although she does have a lot of special needs kids as well, but she also has students that are maybe, you know, on the borderline, maybe they never got diagnosed, or there's kids with a lot of troubled issues, and she's very good at taking care of those, so I like her.
Yeah. And so she
caring.
was also certified in special ed.
Yeah. And so, you know, that kind of, that, not that they're not kind, it's just it takes a special extra level of that thoughtfulness. Ms. Clark is probably one of the most creative people I know. It's like, I mean, from the outfits that she creates for just different occasions to the recipes that she teaches the kids in the food science class. I mean, her creativity, she sees things like, when you think of outside the box, I mean, a lot of us think outside the box is a generic term, but I mean, she is very, very aware of opportunities that a lot of other people don't see. Her creativity is amazing. So I don't know what I bring to the thought process. I don't know if I have maybe some critical thinking skills. I don't know. But I mean, whatever it is that I bring to it, I know the other three ladies are really, really strong. And I guess working together helped us build on each other's strengths.
Okay.
And so I guess if that answered your question or not.
So you saw that there was growth
Yeah,
as a person,
I mean,
and
yeah.
together as a team.
I mean, it also really helped that we were close to each other. I mean, you do a lot of stuff with email. And I mean, we use our phones like all the time to check things, right? I mean, but like right now, like Coach Morales was asking me if I could cover his room or whatever, and I'm like, yeah, that's fine. And we do a lot of stuff with our electronics, but you don't get that more, I guess, just close connection. I don't necessarily want to say intimate per se, but I mean, you do get intimately involved in the details of what you're doing, and you can't get that with electronic communication, because we read and read and read, and our brains don't focus the same way when we have that. They don't focus the same way as it does when you're like interacting with people. You're all sitting around in a group, and so because we were close to each other, we could sit and meet with each other a lot, like just for lunch, and we could talk about things. It wasn't like a designated meeting, but we would still discuss things, you know, like, oh, hey, how's this going, or whatever. And you don't do that with texting. You don't say, oh, hey, by the way, how's this going? Like, you just don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyway, yeah, it's really good.
Okay. From what you've seen, again, from the beginning of the year to now, what is a suggestion that you have so that we can kind of, improve this, or what would you do different to ensure the success of the team?
So, I think when we're talking about formative and summative assessments, we all have different goals, right? But I think it would be really helpful to grow this plan is to start not just having a few of us that are not necessarily in the same topic or content area, because that's important too. You want the cross content, but I think it would be good to also have at least a couple of teachers within the same content in that team. That way, so I have specific
So you
concerns.
mean like having more than one teacher of every content area?
Yeah.
Like you want 2 math teachers, you want 2 English teachers, 2 social studies.
Yeah, I think that would be good.
Okay.
Because part of that comes from the way we explain things. Like sometimes I stumble on my words. I don't quite have the right.
So that can be something we can start off with,
Yeah.
next year.
And it helps. It helps having somebody else there be like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. You meant to say this. Like, yes, that's exactly what I meant to say. And it came out wrong. So yeah, it's helpful to have people in the same content.
Okay. Do you think that the collaborative team or putting together a team the way we did would better create more of a positive school culture?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how to answer that broadly. I mean, give me, like, what are some other things that you would add to that? Like, what was, like, so, yeah, I mean, definitely it's helpful to have a more collaborative part, but what,
Like having the teachers meet together to increase the success of the student, to increase the student learning, which therefore will create a more positive culture for the students, and then having also, the teacher growth.
So, like, I guess one of the things, like, so now we have our conference, like, this is my conference period right now, right? So, but we need to keep the teachers with their personal conference period, right? We have these meetings in the morning, and I feel like maybe some of these meetings that we have in the morning, like, we have to go to them anyway, but why not adjust them so that they are more cross-curricular? That way, instead of just waiting till like when we're hanging out for lunch, or maybe instead of only establishing meetings like once a month or something like that, why don't we meet more often on a weekly basis and say, oh, okay, so on Tuesday morning we'll have our cross-curricular teams. I think that would be good.
Do you think that would increase their, have a more positive school culture?
Oh yeah, no, because, okay, so I don't mean to, a lot of teachers don't know other teachers. A lot of teachers don't know the other teachers in the other departments. And that's just the nature of the fact, we just don't have the time. Like, okay, if I go to hang out at the lounge during lunch, I might know a few of the teachers that are also hanging out in the lounge for lunch. But if I don't make an active effort to go and meet the teachers of the different departments, I will never know them.
Do you think that getting to know teachers across all the departments or other teachers that you don't know, you think that, how could that help to increase student success in the classroom?
Right, okay, so I'll give you an example. I work pretty well with a lot of the seniors. Seniors tend to be in they're in a unique situation because they have this kind of social development, and they tend to be more responsible about trying to get things done, and they want to be part of other programs. So I have a lot of seniors that want to help out with their other teachers.
Okay.
And I've gotten to know more of the senior teachers just because I am trying to help my students be more involved in things that they wouldn't normally have time for.
Okay.
And so if we get to know each other as teachers, we also have that cooperation. Oh yeah. And just as an example, I had Victoria. She was like, okay, can I go over to art because I need to help out with my project? And so I was like, yeah, that's fine. And then so later on, she brought over a project. She showed me what she was doing, right? And so that really, that makes a difference for the kids. You know, realizing that they have a support network. So as teachers, if we know each other, and we meet and we talk to each other, and then we also talk about the things that we are doing. But I wouldn't have known about that project if it wasn't for Victoria.
Yeah.
But if I met, does that make sense?
Yeah. How many minutes did we get?